This fall, there'll be a choice between these two visions. And we must take our case to the American people and be crystal clear about it. There's no question it's been a hard few years. It's investment in America since President Eisenhower's Interstate Highway Act. We got a little help. We did get some help from some Republicans passing the bill, and I'm thankful for that. But the truth is, there's a lot more Republicans taking credit for a bill that they actually voted against. You see it all over America. Right here in Maryland, you got a Republican Congress named Andy Harrison. Now old Andy's out there touting funding for
The House bill passed by wide margins in both chambers of the Oregon legislature. A spokesperson with Oregon Governor Kate Brown said the governor was pleased to sign the payments legislation to help out Oregonans, to help out the people in need. And the State Department of Revenue would make the payments automatically for most eligible workers by the end of summer. The payments evolved from a 2021 plan for large stimulus checks up to $2,000 to essential workers who stayed on the job during the crisis and those who rejoined the workforce last fall. Sponsors of the latest bill, though, said more targeted payments would have been administratively burdensome and would have required workers to apply. Payments could have been delayed for months or even years as a result, and according to state officials, directing the money to low-income working families would help ease the sting of rapid hikes in expenses like rent, gas, and groceries. The Senate Democrat Kathleen Taylor told reporters, cash payments make a huge difference in the lives of working families. The payments plus administrative costs are expected to amount to nearly $150 million, paid from federal crisis and approved by Congress last year. South Carolina taxpayers will be receiving income tax refund checks by the end of the year, after South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster signed a bill to approve both refunds this year and an income tax rate cut for the future. The legislation will result in income tax refund checks being sent in late November or December for those who paid taxes this year. It will be a full refund for those who paid $800 less, which includes 33% of taxpayers. Any South Carolina taxpayer who paid $100 in taxes will receive the $100 rebate, and that rebate will go along with tax liability up to a cap of $800 per tax filing. Those who do not pay income taxes will not receive a rebate, and the state's top income tax will now drop from 7 to 6.5% for the 2022 tax year. For income taxes paid in 2023, the bill would also lower the top rate by 0.1 percentage points each year, starting in 2023 until it reaches 6%.
Good. And both Ms. Gentle and Professor Desmond, what kinds of federal investments in housing supply would be the most effective to ease family housing costs and help renters? Any thoughts? Let's start with Professor Desmond and then Ms. Gentle.
Sure. So the Housing Choice Voucher Program has been an incredibly effective program. Families, after they receive a housing voucher, move to better neighborhoods. Their kids do better in schools. Their kids literally eat more and become healthier and less anemic. So a incredibly cost-effective, successful way to expand more housing security, more economic mobility of families across the country is simply to take a program that we have that already works really well and expand it to all the families that need it.
Ms. Gentle, your comments?
Absolutely agree, and would add when it comes to housing supply.
Senator Markey. Senator Markey, you're recognized for your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, very much. We're in a period of enormously rapid change technologically, artificial intelligence, 5G, Zoom, all of it moving very, very rapidly. But thank goodness there's also new developments, in how to more efficiently use the spectrum which we have and to improve upon our competitiveness. Mr. Lewis, would you take that question and just explain how this recent technological changes are making more spectrum available for our use?
Sure, Senator. And it's not just more, it's more efficient use of spectrum. We have a market now that looks very different, a spectrum market that looks very.
The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics released March unemployment numbers, putting the national jobless rate at 3.6%, dropping 2.4 points from a year ago. The new figures show the extent the U.S. job market has recovered from the crisis after it took hold in the United States over 2 years ago. A total of 15 states had lower unemployment rates, with some seeing new lows. Nebraska and Utah had the lowest jobless rates in March, with each at 2%. Those were followed by Indiana at 2.2% and Montana at 2.3%. President Biden has seen sagging poll numbers as well as inflation has reached record highs. So, do you think that President Biden can take care of inflation? Tell me in the comments down below.
And women who live in rural America, where there are many maternal care deserts, they are about 60% more likely to die. And a big factor which contributes to these outcomes, of course, is systemic inequities. The differences in how people are treated.
Breaking news, lawmakers in the House of Representatives have passed a bill which will allocate around $55 billion to a new program that will help hundreds of thousands of people. But to qualify for the extra financial aid, Americans will have to meet the program's eligibility requirements. The Biden administration has revealed a new plan for the Build Back Better package, so you want to continue watching this video to not miss out on this. Millions of small businesses are still dealing with the challenges brought on by the crisis, but now you can add the inflation, supply chain issues, and even the continuing labor shortage to the mix. For these owners, it means continuing to operate with fewer resources while trying to keep their customers. One way they can keep going is by applying and getting timely grants designed to help their industry, which is what the House of Representatives has done with a bill called H.R. 3807. The challenges that small business owners are facing has led the House to pass the bill, which is designed to replenish a small business grant program. With this bill, the $55 billion fund will help many deserving small businesses out. The House of Representatives is earmarking $42 billion for restaurants, food trucks, and wineries. The $55 billion the House passed will be more than welcomed by small business owners. However, there are still hundreds and thousands of dollars available locally in communities across the country. You can apply for the grants from $2,500 to $25,000 in several cities and counties. These grants address everything from renovation projects to freelancers. Now, definitely make sure to claim this extra crisis relief money if you're eligible for it. Now, President Biden also plans to spend $1.58 trillion of the $5.8 trillion in his proposed 2023 budget to bolster America's defenses and maintain robust economic growth, while also addressing inflation by lowering the federal deficit and costs for working families. President Biden is sending Congress his top-line tax and spending requests for the next fiscal year, which includes $773 billion for the Department of Defense. During a new press conference, President Biden said budgets are statements of values, and the budget I am releasing today sends a clear message that we are fiscally responsible. Presidential budgets are meant to be an opening bid by the White House in annual negotiations. President Biden is leaving a giant space for the cost of any potential climate and spending bill, previously known as the Build Back Better. With last month's consumer price index landing at 7.9%, Biden and his top economic advisors are acknowledging that inflation is eating consumers' purchasing power. But if they are insisting that the higher prices will drop next year, and they blame most of the increase on disrupted supply chains and the crisis overseas. President Biden said that America was not immune to the worldwide inflation that has followed the crisis. The plan is to increase the deficit under the $1 trillion over 10 years through higher taxes.